Welcome to Flash CS5 Tutorial 31, Barricade on the Stage. It's a follow-up to the CS5 Tutorial 30, which was arrow keys with limits, and that's what you see on the screen now. What I want to do is confirm a couple things. So I'm going to put my stage down to 25%. First of all, unlock this rectangle. Select that frame, highlight the rectangle, open the properties panel. I want to confirm that it's 450 wide and 300 high, and I want to confirm that the stroke is 4.00. So if you don't have those, make those changes. So I'm happy with that rectangle. It's centered, and I want to make sure that the ball is selected, that it is 40 height and width. Good. Let's click somewhere on the stage, open the properties panel, and down here the background color, I'm going to make that black. And while I'm here, confirming that my size of my stage is 550 by 400. I'm going to open a new layer. All the layers are locked, and call it COR and corner REC, corner rectangle. I'm keeping the blue stroke, and I'm going to pick up yellow fill, blue stroke yellow fill, rectangle tool, and just draw a rectangle anywhere. Highlight it and open the properties panel. The stroke is still 4 points, and we want to make the width of this, make sure this is unlocked, two separate lengths. Make the width 100 pixels and the height 150. Okay, make a stage about 50%, and while this is selected, that whole rectangle, bring it down and align it right in that corner. And I gotta tab mine down my arrow keys a little bit. There. Can lock that layer. Insert a new layer, call it text, T-E-X-T. Pick up your text tool. I think the text tool is the fill color, but we'll find out. And I want to label these lines as what pixels they are. So right here, 50. So that means that this line is 50 on the y-axis. I'm going to just right click on that and copy it. Right click somewhere on the stage, paste in place, and drag it over here. This line I know is 50 on the x-axis. Select the text tool. This line down here I know is 350, because from here to there is 50. From there to there is 300, right? From here to here is 50. 300 makes it 350. So halfway from here to here would make this point right here 200. That's this point right. That's this line here on my y-axis right here. This box, we made it 100 wide. If this is 50 and this point right here is 500, this makes this, because this is 550 on the stage, if this is 500 and this is 100 wide, that makes this line here 400. So those are the things we need to know. Let's label one more thing. Let's pick up a blue fill and pick up the text tool, and right in here select that text layer right here. This is the, I want us to tell us here is that it's a 150 is the height, and also that 100 is the width. So we'll know when we're working with these what these different values are. Okay, lock the text layer. Open the Actions panel. And way down here where we're testing that the key's been pressed, we have a statement here that says if the right key is pressed and the ball is not reached the end here, we would allow the ball to move. So we're going to now change the parameters of this. We're going to also discuss the fact that we want the ball to move when the right key is pressed as long as it's above this line right here, this 200 on the Y. So okay, so now look at this statement. It says if the right key is pressed and the ball movie clip is less than 500 and minus 20, that means the ball is sitting, if it's less than here, allow it to move if, this is another and, we added this and on here basically, this is what we added on, if the ball Y is less than or equal to 200 minus 20. So I'll just going to close this for a minute, bring this up, and what this is saying is if the ball is in this area, we will allow it to move to the right. So open that Actions panel and let's test this. The ball's down low here. It can't move to the right because it's below, it's further down than the 200. If I bring it up, now it can move to the right. Okay, so that's good. Now we got to satisfy what happens when the ball is below this line. Then we're going to restrict it to this 400 line. So now we're going to add a second type of conditions to these three, and that's called the OR statement. So it's either going to be this information, which works above this 200 line, or it's going to be the new information that I'm getting you to type in now. So select the end here, put an enter sign, and type this information in. Now these two things, I think they're called pike, and they are located on your keyboard. They're in uppercase, and it's the key that is directly below the backspace. It's the uppercase of the /. So you hit that time, and I believe it's called pike. Then we got an open bracket. This here is the same right equals 1, and ball underscore X, that's the movie clip X this time. Now instead of restricting it at 500, we're going to be restricting it, if you look down here, to 400 minus 20. That's what this means. And the condition and will be if the ball Y is greater than 200 minus 20. So that means when it's down here, we'll allow the ball to move to the right. This upper part allows it to move to the right when it's here, above here. This allows it to move to the right when it's below here. That's why it's called an OR. Now you see we have one extra closed bracket here. We have to put one way down here after this if. Let's test this. There it is. See that? It can go good there, and here's good. So that's working out really well. Now we have to do something similar with the down key. We want to now make the code that allows us to have the down key pushed and the ball drop down when it's to the left of this line right here. And we know that this line is the 400 line here, and we know that this line is the 350 line. So I'm going to push this up like this. I'm going to open my actions panel, find where the down key is examined. Here it is here. And I'm just going to put this line in because I have it copied. This is the same down key, the same ball. There's what's saying, is it less than 350, meaning that it's still above this 350 line. So when we're pressing it, we do want it to come down. And here's the and that we're adding. If the BALL underscore MC period X is, if it's less than 400 minus 20, that means it would be here, not over here. Then allow this ball to come down. Let's test this one out. There it is, and it's allowed to come down. If it were over here, beyond that 400, it would not allow. I'm pressing the key and it can't come down, and that's what we have to fix next. And we're going to do that in a very similar manner. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, allow it to move down when the down key is pressed, and you're greater than 400 this way on the x-axis, and it's going to restrict it to the 200 line. Sounds like a lot. Click at the end of this string, put an enter in, and type in, there's those two pikes, open bracket, down equals 1, and ball MCY. That's saying now that it's less than or equal to 200. That's on the y-axis. That means we're up here somewhere above the 200 line. And, here's the and, the ball X is greater than 400, meaning that we're this side of this line. So we're over here somewhere. So if that or this is true, we're going to allow the ball to move. And of course, like before, we need another open bracket here. And this should give us the restrictions on that object. Restrict it. There. There. And there. Now, there's something I got to show you. If you're down here too far, I'm hitting the arrow key down. I won't go any further. I'm hitting the right key and it won't move. That's because we're breaking the line. If you look 2 tutorials back, it explains the problem that we have. And if I do that, now I can't move up. I can move up because no restriction, but I can't move down because it's restricted. And we're going to show you a way to solve that little situation. So if you come up to here, we're going to solve the right one first. When you come up to here, where it's saying on this second line that it's looking for it to be 400, it's looking for it to be less than 400, right here, less than 400. We're going to make that 395. And that should solve that problem. And if we go down to the down key, where it's saying 200 here, that's that point here, we're going to make that 195. Now you can actually go around and do all these limits and have this really, really, really good, but I'm just showing you how to do these two. Now let's test this movie. Before, this ball would go all the way and hit that line. It can't now. Therefore, I can move up and down. All I did was change that 400 limit to 395. Same here. Before, when I went down here, I would pass that line and I couldn't do this anymore. So now, let's go back to the main timeline. And you don't want to be seeing all these numbers showing, but you don't want to take them off in case you want to go further or you want to modify it. So a little trick here is they're all on this layer called text. Double click on it, it opens up. Just make it a mask. We're not going to use it as a mask, but make it a mask. Okay, it's a mask. That means that when you run it, you won't see what's in that layer. And let's just quickly make sure it's restricted there. That works good. It's restricted there. If I hit 2, I'll go on an angle. restrict it, up. I won't hit the 2 down on the right angle. There it goes. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.